Hi Linnea, this is Dr. Lindberg here with comments about your micro-teaching lesson. And as I'm making the comments, I'm watching your video, so my comments will be in the order of the events of your lesson. And I'd just like to say right up front that you were very professional looking and you had lots of enthusiasm and energy and smiles, which would be perfect for the elementary classroom. Right away, there was a nice use of front loading as you were moving the students to the circle in the back of the room. And you gave some good directions for getting into the circle, having one line follow the other one. I think in the real second grade classroom, you would probably need to walk with the very first person in line so that when they got to the place where you wanted them to make this circle, that they would still walk all the way around the circle until everybody was in it. Otherwise, that might not quite work. But I definitely think you have the right idea of walking a line to the open space and then right into a circle. And I think that worked well to put the poster on a stand, and then you asked students to be sure that they could see the poster before you started the game, and that was also good. And the poster was cute, by the way. I thought it worked really well in the game, so thanks for taking the trouble to make that, you and Colleen. Okay, now right here we're at the point where you're asking students who can tell me what 2 words in the song that they just sang rhymed. Maybe an easier way to go about that would be to say, we're going to sing this song one more time, and I want you to listen for rhyming words as you sing. That might be just a little less abstract than just asking that question right out like that. It also gives them a listening job to do while they're singing the song, which is positive too. And I'm hearing positive reinforcement, and now that you've got that in place, maybe work to make that just a little more specific. So when you say perfect or good job, say what it was that was good. That's a little bit more meaningful to students over time than just saying perfect or good job. And you said, while we're singing through the song, I'd like you to maintain that big beat pattern on your legs. I'm really not sure second graders would know the word maintain. So maybe just think of a simpler way to say that. I thought it was a really good idea when you started explaining the game not to explain the entire game. That would have taken too long and been too much to remember, but you were just going to do the first part and then go on from there. And that's exactly what you should do. And thanks for counting off on pitch. Your vocal model, you have a beautiful voice. Vocal model is great, and I think I've said this before, there's a little too much vibrato creeping in sometimes at the ends of phrases for elementary school. So maybe just think of that and just keep a straight tone all the way to the end, if you can. Okay, and then you're singing the song and you pointed to Carissa to come up and take off 2 bubble gums. And maybe at that point, just the first time you go through it with students, it would be good just to stop and say, okay, now Carissa's going to come up and take off 2 bubble gums. Let's continue singing the song, or let's, maybe just verbalize that right when it's happening and then go right on with the song. However, with this class, it worked well. You just gestured and didn't have to stop, and she knew what to do. So if that works, that's good too. Okay, and then you stopped in a little chunk and gave the directions for the next part where the ball's being passed and people are thinking of rhyming words. And probably, and I think I said this in class, probably something good right here would be to just stop and say the directions, maybe make sure everybody's hearing you, even the people behind you, and then just say, before we go on with this part, let's just take a moment and everybody think of 2 rhyming words for this word. And then just say, I'll give you 10 seconds. And then at the end of 10 seconds, say, okay, we're going to go ahead and then do that part. I know, Stephen, for college students, it was a little hard to think up rhyming words right there on the spot and on the beat. And for little children, it would be harder. Okay, so now we're on the second person who's going to take bubble gums out of the machine. And you're starting the song, you sang it once, and you were able to tell them one more time in the middle just to reinforce, to keep everything going. And the second time went more smoothly, I thought. You might even need to stop even in the second, maybe even in the third time, just to give some verbal reminders and ask people to think up rhyming words for just a few seconds. And then by that point, you should just be able to say, well, we're not going to stop anymore. We're just going to go right through because I think everybody's got it. Just some other things to think about if you do this lesson for your pre-practicum or something. If the tapping laps gets too loud, you can always have students use spider hands, which is, just curling their fingers and still patting their laps, but it's a lot less noisy. And in a circle, you can still see. Or maybe have them do something totally different just to change up the action, like tap their shoulders. Also, with real second graders, The first time you do it, they might or might not be able to say the word on the beat and throw the ball on the beat. So you might want to just take what you get the first time through on that. And then as you do it during subsequent lessons, concentrate more and more on, can you do this on the beat? I thought overall the game worked out well. It was really cute. I think it's something that second graders would like. And I thought you did an excellent job of giving a lot of repetitions, a lot of chances for them to get it right. And I thought there was a fairly high level of active involvement for students. They were tapping the beat, and the ball was being passed enough times that just about everybody got a turn to say a rhyming word and pass the ball. Not everybody got a turn to do the bubble gums, but that might not matter so much by second grade. You might be able to just say, we're going to do this lots of times through the year, so everybody should get a turn. But if you have somebody in there who's going to count, then maybe you'd want to notate who came to the front on a sheet, or use your jar of popsicle sticks and draw out names or something like that so you can keep track. Right at the end, I think maybe you could have taken just a little more time with the closure, maybe gotten some more answers from different people to your questions. You did about the when did we clap, but maybe just do a few more things to involve more students and just make it a little more active and take a little bit longer. I know you did have time to go on to an extension, which is exactly what you should do if you have extra time. But it just seemed like the closure could have been a little more substantial. Overall, I thought this was a really great lesson that you and Colleen put together, and I think that you've got a lot of potential for the elementary classroom. I don't know if you're considering that, but I think when you go out for your student teaching experience that it should be a success. I think young students will relate to you really easily. You're enthusiastic, well organized, energetic. All of those are qualities that are really necessary for an elementary music teacher. So overall, I think you should feel really good about the lesson, and I'd like to thank you for serving as such a good model for the students who come after you with their lessons. And those are all my comments for right now. If you have any questions, please be sure and let me know. Otherwise, take care, and I'll see you in class.